a suspect for drug-related offenses in different parts of the country, and 44.1 kilograms along the Lekki area of Lagos State. He also revealed that based on credible intelligence, NDLEA operatives ambushed a white truck conveying 50 jumbo bags of the illicit substance weighing 2,434.1 kilogram along the Epe-Lekki Expressway in the early hours of Monday, June 19. Babafemi said the driver jumped out of the vehicle and escaped in a security van escorting the truck conveying the drug exhibits, adding that the anti-narcotics officers demobilized the truck. The NDLA spokesperson explained further that the following day, officers of the Marine Command of the agency, while acting on intelligence, intercepted a boat loaded with the same imported substance weighing 2,910 kilograms around Alpha Beach upon arrival from Ghana. He went further to say 2 Ghanaians, Monde Saba, a 30-year-old, and Hakim Kwana, 27-year-old, found with the consignment were promptly arrested. In Niger State, 2 suspects, Abubakar Mohammed, a 32-year-old, and Nuhu Saleh, 43-year-old, were arrested on Sunday, June 18, along Abuja Expressway, Suleja, with 31 jumbo bags of skunk weighing 517 kilograms, while 30-year-old Amina Aliyu was arrested with 171 kilograms of the substance on Wednesday, June 21st at Ogbogodo Village, Tekina local government area of Kogi State. And also a suspected fake female security agent, Ogedegbe Dorcas, a 34-year-old female, was also nabbed at Ajegule in the Asa Dam area of Ilorin, Kwara State with 30 kilograms of cannabis on Thursday, June 22nd, while in Oyo State, NDLA operatives intercepted 42-year-old Shegun Olajide with 42.2 kilograms of same substance on Saturday, June 24th in Oyo. A lot of recoveries. Operatives in Edo also stormed a Kudo forest, Uhunwode local government area, where they destroyed a cannabis farm measuring 2.49486 hectares, recovered processed weeds weighing 67 kilograms, and arrested 6 suspects including Onyeka Onyedima, Monday Onyedi, Alex Ebo, Edosa Imariagbi, God Bless Tunde, and God's Time Osarobo in the early hours of Monday, June 19. God's Time is the best, certainly, and Nemesis has caught up with them. This is one aspect that we really have to talk a lot about, drugs trafficking and consumption in Nigeria. Every now and then we hear a lot of recoveries, a lot of arrests made by the NDLEA. But again, we need to conscientize ourselves in this country. We need to look at the ways that we can make money positively, productively. Our youth should stay away from drugs, because if you look at the number, I was going through some statistics over the weekend when the NDLA boss talking about Buba Marwa was saying about over 15 million young adults from 15 years downward are involved in one way or the other in taking drugs in this country. Where are we headed if 15 million young adults will be involved from that age category, 15 years? Then where do you think the future of this country would lead us to? We have to conscientize ourselves. We have to sanitize our system. We have to sanitize our mind. This is not only what the government will fight. Yes, the government has a very huge role to play, but it is the responsibility of you and I as citizens of this country. It is the responsibility of the community leaders. It is the responsibility of traditional rulers, religious head. We have to preach the gospel for our young adults, especially in Nigeria, to shun drugs, because it is destroying the future of so many vibrant youth in this country. Peer pressure can lead a lot into all of this, but the problem there is that we have to start at the grassroots. We have to contribute our own quota. Yes, this is Front Page Review on Voice of the People 96.1, and this information is contained on the Punch newspaper, where we are looking at it, that says NDLEA arrests 2 Ghanaians, 11 others for drug trafficking. And we know that these drugs, mostly are imported from outside the shores of Nigeria. So we have to strengthen our security architecture, the mechanism, the apparatus that we use in terms of securing our border. A lot of arrests or seizures were made even in the airport, in the seaport, wherever in this country. Let's try to contribute our own quota to nation building. Parents, make sure you monitor your words. Teachers, play your own role. Parents should not allow all the training of their kids to the teachers. We all have our role to play in this Herculean task, because it has become a Herculean task for parents in Nigeria, for guardians in Nigeria, and also for the security operatives, because a lot of people want to make money no matter the cost, no matter the expense of people's lives. So we have to make sure that we have a rethink. We have to re-strategize. We have to make sure that our system is devoid of these drug peddlers. And kudos to the authority, because they are really doing much, but they should also do more. That is what I would say this beautiful morning. Don't forget, this is VOP 96.1, and at 7:30 we will be joining our guest analyst talking about Rufai Oseni, who will also contribute different perspective to some of the stories that we already have in hand. And let's move to this one that says first quarter 2023 debt servicing rose to 1.24 trillion naira according to reports. Nigeria's debt servicing cost has increased by 55.71% to 1.24 trillion naira in 3 months, finding by the Punch newspaper has shown. According to data obtained from the Debt Management Office, between October and December 2022, Nigeria spent 406.77 billion naira on domestic debt servicing, while it spent 143.74 billion naira on external debt servicing, giving a total of 550.51 billion naira. However, between January and March this year, Nigeria spent 874.13 billion on domestic debt servicing, while it spent $801.36 million in naira is around 368.87 billion naira on external debt servicing, giving a total of 1.24 trillion naira. The exchange rate of the DMO, which was 460 naira 3 kobo, was used for the external debt servicing. The International Monetary Fund recently said the federal government projected to spend 82% of its revenue on interest payment in 2023. According to the IMF, external debt, including that of the private sector, will rise to $121.6 billion US, with external reserves climbing to $37.5 billion. It disclosed this in a table of projections in its IMF Executive Board concludes 2022 Article 5 consultation with Nigeria summary. The projection showed an improvement in the share of the government's revenue used as interest payment, with interest payment falling from 96.3% in 2022 to 82% in 2023. It added that interest payment was 86.1% and 87.8% of the federal government's revenue in 2020 and 2021 respectively. And also in a document, in a document by the DMO DG recently obtained by a Punch correspondent, the DMO stated that high debt levels would often lead to high debt services and affect investment in infrastructure. She stressed the need for debt sustainability, which she defined as the ability to service all current and future obligations while maintaining the capacity to finance policy objectives without resorting to unduly large adjustment or exceptional financing such as arrears accumulation and debt restructuring, which could otherwise compromise the economy's stability. This should also bring to me, like, I just recall what I saw in the Paris Economic Summit when the president of Kenya, William Ruto, was making his submission. He made very, very excellent submission there, where you look at the debts of African countries. He made very, very salient point that made some of the European leaders to look at him in amazement, because some of the points that I picked about the issue of global warming and issue of debt, because we're talking about debt here, that is why I want to look at issue of debts. His contribution there was fantastic, that Africa is designed to borrow. We are designed to be in debt based on the policies created by the world powers, the IMFs, the World Banks, and their likes. We continue borrowing. He suggested something that he called a win-win situation, which to me personally I see as a win-win situation. But I doubt if those world leaders, especially the European leaders, who would always want to have control over African countries, I don't think they would accept that or that deal that was proposed by William Ruto, president of Kenya, because he said Kenya pay a lot of money in debt servicing to the tune of $5 billion every year. And we also look at what we are paying in debt servicing here in Nigeria, huge sum of money, at some point over 90%, 96% in 2022, and now it's going to fall down to 82% in 2023. It is quite huge, and he proposed that he wants it to be a win-win situation, in the sense that let the people or the institutions that give Africans this loan have a kind of deferred payment, restructure the debt. It's not as if they are not going to pay the interest, because of course they are shareholders and they would want to make profit, they want to receive, but suspend the debt servicing for at least 10 years. Let's, for instance, the amount we are going to be paying as debt servicing in this country to the tune of 1.24 trillion naira. Let's not pay in 10 years. This 1.24 trillion naira should be used to develop our infrastructure. If this year we have this huge sum of money in trillions to pay our debts, our debt servicing, that is, we're talking about the interest now, interest repayment, not even the capital repayment. If we can have that sum of money concurrently in 10 years, hopefully we will be able to build the infrastructure that will generate more money for us. If not, we will continue to be paying debts, because our revenue to debt ratio is quite alarming, especially here in Nigeria. And that is why the DMO is coming out last week to say the government needs to up our revenue generation, because it's quite alarming. What we generate is going to go in debt servicing. So I don't think if these world leaders would accept this proposal by Kenya's president for the debts to be deferred, interest repayment to be deferred for at least 10 years. Instead, let African countries use those money to develop their infrastructure, and let's see how we can become a better nation. All right, it's time for us to link up with our guest analyst, Mr. Rufai Oseni, who will also be giving different perspective, different opinion to what we have on our conversation today. Don't forget, this is Voice of the People 96.1 Abuja. Now you have a voice. You can jump on the conversation as well. Contribute your own quota. What do you think you want to say? We don't want you to sit on the fence. Make sure you join the conversation. All right, we have our guest analyst who has joined us via the telephone. Hello, good morning, sir.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning. I hope you are well this morning.
Bless you. Yes, I am.
All right, morning. Thank you. We have a lot of headlines here to look into. Which one that has it's on the Punch newspaper that says Naira devaluation pushes up vehicle duties by 40%, and another is here that NDLEA arrests 2 Ghanaians, 11 others for drug trafficking. We really want to look at some of the headlines on the Punch and also Vanguard. I have one here. First quarter 2023, debt servicing rose to 1.24 trillion naira according to report. And sadly, on the Vanguard, I have this one that says butcher stoned to death in Sokoto for blasphemy. So if time permits, we'll also take a look at some other headlines. But let's begin with this.
Butcher stoned to death of last week. Very sad that this keeps happening. We remember this Deborah,
yeah,
where he was killed and today the killers have not been brought to book, which is a sad reality. Despite the fact that there are video evidences that caught some of the killers claiming to have perpetrated and set our life, which is very sad in our country. We have a country that says in Section 38, and please, let me repeat, Section 38 of the Nigerian Constitution supersedes other laws in the land. So even if there are other laws, the Nigerian Constitution is the ground law, the national law.
Yes.
Section 30 says you have freedom of thought, religion. Right?
Yes.
Let's be careful. We can't keep doing this to ourselves. We cannot keep killing people and losing lives. It's not done. And the law enforcement should not be sentimental about this. Bring those culprits to book. Because we remember the case of Doma.
Yeah. And same Sokoto State.
And Doma was not just only killed, churches were damaged. I remember the ordeal Reverend Father Kuka went through. We can't build the country this way. Secondly, 40% increase as regards tariff of ours because of the forex situation. We knew it was going to happen. It was going to push out its own inflationary pressure. And also the funny reality is the fact that, do you know that DMO benchmarked their forex rate at 436 in the last fact they shared? So I was even shocked because when I was analyzing, I said I saw currency fluctuation 0.6 something, 0.5 million. But apparently there's another story saying that they benchmarked their rate at 435, 436 thereabout. And that's why I kept on saying you cannot do things without planning. You want to converge currency, you have to plan. And despite your planning, if you know that government will still have to intervene. Now we've plunged our currency, hoping that we find stability, hoping that people will bring money into the markets. But we are seeing the ricochet effect, which is a sad commentary on our country. That's why we kept on talking about the structural problems. Jack up productivity, at least ensure there's a funnel at which you can get in forex. Because you don't print, Nigerian Central Bank doesn't print dollar.
Yeah, we don't.
So remember that, you don't print dollar, so it still has to come in through transaction and trade. And that's why we should do more, open up new sectors. Look at Modi in America. Look at quality deals Modi is signing. See, I saw one deal on AI center that India Modi signed with America. Over $230 million. $2 billion deal. $3 billion deal. Let's go to America for fun fair. He went there to sign deals. And these are money coming in.
The economy, yeah.
When are we going to have deals like that in Nigeria? That Google will come and sign and open an AI center. They will do this. There's a lot that can be done. And that's why the country stabilizes and gets money. So that's a part. Secondly, the case of NDLA arresting people, yes, they have to arrest people. Kudos to the NTLA, but we need to try the cases till the end. Till today, we know what
Sorry to interject you, Mr. Rufai. I think I want to ask your opinion or your perspective on this particular one that we just finished talking about, jacking up our productivity. In Africa, we have about 33 different currencies. We so much rely on the dollar. Is there anything do you think we can do as a continent to improve on our standard of living, to see how we can reduce our over-reliance on the dollar?
No, there's something already being done. It's called the PAPI system by African Bank. Okay. So it's like a co-op deal. So if you go through that system by African Bank and you pay your local currency, it will make settlements in another currency. And I think that's the way forward. If African Bank continue to buffer it, that's the way forward. Because before, even when, as I take back economic history, even when we knew, before they had they had something called an ERM, a rate mechanism that each currency was pegged to each other, and there was a buffer ratio rate of change. don't want to take you deeper into economic history and things like Tobin tax and things like that, transactional tax and all of that. Have that already done by African Bank. It's for all of us to embrace it. But you see, the dollar in the dominant currency, it also has to do with international interplay of power. The dollar became the dominant currency after the Second World War, when the winners and the losers met in a place in New Hampshire called Bretton Woods, and that's how they set up Bretton Woods institutions like the World Bank and the likes. And then you had two dominant economies, John Keynes, and also an American economy, and they propounded what the world theory of economy was going to be like. And that's how the dollar started dominating. But the world order is changing. That's why you can see big nations and when they are doing what the Chinese were doing. But it is for us in Africa to be able to introspect and have us. And the silver bullet will be this practice that the African bankers started. So let's move back to the story of the MDLA. The MDLA is what's important that he's willing to prosecute cases to win. You remember the case of a big fund in a warehouse somewhere in Lagos, and they've not been able to, apprehend or bring to book or bring to justice those people. And most of these cases too, we hope they don't take too long in court. Like in Abba Kyari's case, we don't know what's going on with Abba Kyari's case now.
Yeah.
There's so much to be done. Yeah, next story.
All right, so before we get to the next story, please let me have your say on this. How do you think we need to conscientize ourselves in order to reduce the rate at which drugs are consumed and also peddled within Nigeria? Because without buyers, there is no going to be seller. And I saw a particular statistic over the weekend that says from age 15 downward, there are about 14 or there are about million young adults engaged in one form of drug abuse or the other. It got me thinking that where are we headed? What is the future of Nigeria if kids below the age of 15 are into this?
No, very good. There's always going to be drug in society. But how can we reduce it? Number one, conscientization, like you said, publicity, advocacy, capital, and harmful effect of drug. Secondly, and most importantly, mental health. Now, a lot of Nigerians have mental health problems, but they don't even know. And some of these mental health are the economic circumstances. Because the first push to drug is a reaction to problems. So a lot of them have the mental health challenges, but they don't know. So we need to start up a national campaign on how to tackle mental health challenges, and how to start to buffer society against the hardship and effect of mental health challenges. A lot of Nigerians need to see a shrink. We're facing too much trauma. And most importantly, the other method is to break the cartels. But you see, the sad reality about the cartels are so powerful. Some of them are holding various positions in leadership. I mean, you heard the case of a former aide to the governor in the state being busted for all sorts of money laundering and illicit activities. But the drug peddlers are the big men in Nigeria. So we also need public will to be able to fight these people and bring sanity back to society. Because that's the most important. And that's why I asked a question about that biggest boss that NDLA said in court in Lagos.
Yeah.
Today, what has happened to these items? So these are the things we should look at strongly. So I think I'm going to talk to a portfolio of issues as regards that.
Yeah, let's take a look at some of the news that went around after the Paris summit, where President of Kenya, William Ruto, made some salient points to the global leaders, talking about the European countries' president and also the World Bank, IMF, and their likes, concerning the structure of how power evolves in international politics, that Africa is programmed to be in debt. And he went ahead to profile some solution that he calls a win-win situation. Do you think, let me, the analogy, I'm sure you might have seen that video. Hello, can you hear me? Hello, are you with me? Hello? I think we're having a network issue. Hello, Mr. Rufai, can you hear me? All right, Abuja, let's try to. Okay.
I can hear.
All right, we're having network challenge. We can't hear you here actually.
Wow.
Okay, I can hear you now. Yeah, I can hear you now. Better. All right, let's try to reconnect with Rufai Oseni there so that we have a stake on this particular issue, because I'm so concerned and to have another perspective concerning this solution proposed by Kenya's president, talking about William Ruto. Hello. Okay, thank you very much for reconnecting. All right, I was saying with regard to the win-win situation proposed by William Ruto, president of Kenya, where he said the debts of Africans should be deferred for at least 10 years because of the huge sum they use in debt servicing. They could use that to develop other infrastructure that will help them, because he said, of course, he's not oblivious of the fact that shareholders would want profit in their money. And he's not saying Africa will not pay, but defer the payments for at least 10 years or 20 years so that we get to use those monies we usually pay as debt servicing to develop our economy. It will help in paying the debt entirely going forward. Do you think that is possible? Is it obtainable? Would the world leaders key into this solution? Oh my goodness, we're still having a network challenge with Rufai, because I'm very interested in this particular topic. I want him to really have a say on it, because I feel if really the world leaders and some of the global institutions will accept, it's going to be a very huge plus to Africa and Nigeria inclusive, because it's going to be a turning point for our economy. All right, you're listening to Voice of the People 96.1 FM. Front Pages Review is what we at now, and we are talking. We've been talking with our guest, Mr. Rufai Oseni. But let's try to reconnect. Okay? Yes, I can hear you. Thank you.
I think that we have a very big network problem. So let me tell you, no, I said no. I don't like hearing those arguments from African leaders. It has shown that it's an argument that will not work.
Okay.
All the debt stopped forgive us in Nigeria. Afterwards, why did we rack up debt again? Oh, see, the world will not keep bailing out Africa for the stupidity of its leaders. Ruto, that is talking. Was the root. How did this country rack up the debt? Wasn't it in subsidies? And unrealistic subsidies that his predecessor was giving, where he was, and he was vice president in that economy that got that debt. Go and look at it, the data is there. I don't have to I'll give you. Between 2000 and 2004, we forgave a lot of debts. But what happened? We took on those debts again. So what Africa needs to change is the structural thinking in its leadership. Do you know how many times Ghana has gone to IMF since independence? So it speaks volume. Africa should stop begging. Africa should carry its own weight. These debts, forgiveness we're always begging for, it's just a precursor to be able to take more debts. Africa should fix the structural problem. Nigeria as a country is begging for debt forgiveness. If we get debt for them, how about the crude oil theft that is going on, that we know the people doing it, but we can't bring them to account? Because there are people in high places. Or you think it's a small man like you and me that are just building a media station that will go and rent a vessel to smuggle oil across the Atlantic?
Certainly not.
Do you know how much this is smuggle oil? So Africa should go and fix its own problems. Once they fix their own problems, they'll be able to stand tall. And that's why the West will keep laughing at us. See, let me tell you something. Culture will eat strategy for breakfast. Like to forgive the debt of Africa from today to infinity, they will still own debt again. Because it's a cultural problem of fiscal recklessness and financial indiscipline. When we're printing money for ways and means, when we're taking all sorts of Chinese cookies, did we know then? So let's stop deceiving ourselves. I don't subscribe to that again. Carry your own weight, work at your own pace, pay your debt. It will give you that sense of responsibility. We don't have that sense of responsibility. That's our problem in Africa. And once you are not responsible, you become foolish. My mom will always say, as you lay your bed, so you lie on it.
Certainly, that is it.
As you lay your bed, so you lie on it. I remember as a child, my mom would say, you can't put your school books on your bed and expect to sleep on the bed and expect to sleep in bed. As you lay your bed, you lie on it. That's simple. Simplicity.
All right, Mr. Rufai, before I let you go, let's take a look at this particular one that happened last year, and it's also a recurring decimal in Nigeria. Issue of flooding. Flooding has come again. Many lives.
As you lay your bed, so you lie on it. Today we don't have a plan. Last year we said, oh, they opened up a dam in Cameroon. So now, we've not settled the problem of flooding. We always know Trademore Estate will flood every year in Abuja. But government are nothing as regards it. The same government will say it's because they build houses on floodplain channel. So what was the government looking at when they were building those houses there? Because the same government of spent money for people to build houses on those floodplain channels. But they say Abuja has a master plan. So didn't they include flooding in the Abuja master plan? Or they violated the master plan? Again, my brother, as you lay your bed,
so
you what?
Lie on it, certainly. All right, I think we've exhausted some of the headlines that we have looked this morning.
If we are wise, we need to have national plan for flooding all over the country. Okay. At least to mitigate the effects. We can't remove it, but at least to mitigate the effect considerably. But we will never do anything. It is when it happens, we'll now start looking for relief materials and start trying foul.
That is the biggest problem. That is my biggest issue with us in Nigeria. We are not proactive. We always reactive.
Yes, when we say the government is not responsive, some of their spokespeople will come and abuse us and say, no, you are an enemy of Nigeria. You don't like Nigeria. Let me tell you something. All the things I've said about this country will stay to be for good. Because the things to make this country better, not worse off. All the advices I've given, austerity will judge me for good, because these are the things that will make this country better. These are the things that will prevent evil. As of today, as we speak, nobody has crafted a master plan to be able to prevent flooding in cities and towns all over Nigeria. If they have, they should bring it out and infect it. So we don't think about it, but when the effect happens, we cry foul. And the effect is going to happen. You remember how last year there was a fuel scarcity in Abuja because of flooding?
Yes.
Because flood cut off the
road, from Kogi. There was flood.
Until now, nobody has even thought again in scenario planning. There's something called scenario planning. That if a case of flood like happens again, and it cuts off this road, how are they going to get fuel into Abuja? Nobody has thought of that.
It's going to push people into another hardship.
Yeah, so these are the part of national plan that I talk about, and people say, oh, you don't like us. I don't care. All I want is the country to be better. I don't care who is president or not president in Nigeria. All I want is if Nigeria works, I will be the first to celebrate and celebrate the government. And celebrate the government. But if it doesn't work, I will speak up. And no matter the bigoted statement by anybody, as from any quarters, to stop me from speaking about my country, because I'm an equal stakeholder. I only carry one, I don't carry two. It's only my brain passport. So you can't be more Nigerian than me. As far as I'm concerned, this country work when we think better about it. Bless you.
All right, bless you too, Mr. Rufai Oseni. Thank you. Wonderful perspective there on our front page review today.
And bless our capital territory, Abuja.
Amen. We say a big amen to that. All right, that was Rufai Oseni, who has given us different perspective to some of the headlines that we have today on Front Pages Review on Voice of the People 96.1 Abuja. Don't forget that you can also jump on the conversation. Your opinion matters. You might have a different opinion concerning what we have discussed. You can do well to call. We have a little less than 2-3 minutes to wrap up. Yes, I think so. 2 minutes max. You can also jump on the conversation by calling our studio line 0700 010 961 961 0700 010 961 961. That is the number you can call and be part of the conversation. Abuja, don't sit on the fence. Make sure you jump on the conversation, because this is your radio. It is Voice of the People, and the people make us count. The people opinion matters. Your voice is our priority. Let's amplify it for you. Call the studio line. You can make use of the WhatsApp handle. You can also drop your message or send in your SMS. We are here and we will certainly read your messages out. And you can also follow us on our social media handles, VOP at VOP961. You get us live on YouTube. We're there, Voice of the People Abuja. And you can also check us out on Instagram and Twitter at Voice of VOP961. And if you want more details about what we do and about us, you can check us on our website page, www.abujavoiceofthepeople.ng, www.abuja.voiceofthepeople.ng. I think this is where we will call it a wrap on the Front Pages Review for today, Monday, 26th day in the month of June 2023. Abuja, I wish you a blessed, fruitful, and productive day ahead. My name is Aliyu Doma. Stay with us and don't change your dial. At 8, Igbo Amaka will be coming through. Same Front Pages Review, but this time around in Igbo language. So don't change your dial. We are here for you.